Hey everybody, Larry Lawton here for another edition of a review. Before I get started, I always say please join our member program or look into it on Patreon or YouTube. Also check out our merch and stuff. We got a lot of good stuff and we keep coming out with new stuff people keep asking for that. But let me get right into a great review and you're going to love this. One of my favorite movies of all time, Goodfellas. And I wanted to review this movie because it really was kind of my era. Hair before my era, but really, that was our life. That was the way I remember life in the 80s. And I think Goodfellas was kind of the late 70s and early 80s. And that's kind of what I was really growing up a little bit more into the mid to late 80s when I got out of the service in 86, but technically 85 because I was on Governor's Island and then I was on medical. So that's when I went back working at the Luke's Piano Lounge in Queens off of Union Turnpike. And it was Goodfellas in all its glory. So if anybody out there has not seen the movie Goodfellas, please, we've been putting them up there. Check out Goodfellas. It's one of the great gangster movies. People ask me all the time, what movie out there really depicts the way it was? That kind of stuff. And I gotta say, it's gotta be Goodfellas. And here's why it's Goodfellas. The story plot was good. It was pretty much a true story. Obviously, Henry Hill was a real guy. Didn't like him. Snitch. And, but anyway, it was a good movie. Lufthansa was a real heist that happened in New York. And it was the biggest heist at the time of a cash robbery of $5 million out of Lufthansa Airlines at Kennedy Airport. And I knew a lot about Kennedy Airport back in those days. So it was really a true story based on all true characters and Henry Hill. And here's why I don't like Henry Hill. Obviously, he's a snitch. And here's a guy who did a lot of bad things himself, and all of a sudden to get out of trouble, he does the old quack, 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 I can't do my time crap. I don't believe it. I hate it. I think it's the worst thing in the world someone could do in that regard. And again, I'm not talking about terrorists and stuff. You're in the criminal enterprise, all of a sudden you want to do something to get out of it. Everybody says, and if you haven't read my book, if you are out there and you have not read Gangster Redemption, I'm not just saying it. Get the book, Gangster Redemption. It is a great read, and I will tell you why. So many people say my book is better than Goodfellas. They say my book could make a better movie than Goodfellas, and you can let me know on that if you read the book, because of the fact of it's got a good ending. Very rarely do you get a mob movie without somebody getting killed at the end or without somebody going into the witness protection program or all that BS. In my movie, I went to prison, I got out, I started a program to help young people, and now look what I'm even doing. I'm even on YouTube, and I do help a lot of people here on YouTube. I think you know that, all the people I have helped on YouTube. So I think that's what makes it a better. But not only that, in the movie of Goodfellas, they robbed $5 million out of Lufthansa, but it was just, that's part of the movie. The whole thing was about a guy named Henry Hill, true character, who ratted and ended up, they told his story through his junkie eyes, I call it. And he ratted because he was facing the big heavy time from the narcotics. And then he ended up being on Howard Stern and a lot of shows, and it was just a piece of garbage, Again, these are the kinds of guys I can't respect their word. You tell me, you're a stand-up guy, and how can you go into business or how can you do something with that guy when you know his word's no good? I try to do everything to the best of my ability with my word, and especially even with you guys here on YouTube. If I tell you I'm putting up a video, I put it up every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 2 p.m. Can things happen? Yes. But as you know, most of them go up at 2 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So, and then I put up some more videos like I told you I would. But let me tell you why I liked Goodfellas and why I think it'll probably go down as one of the best mob movies. Because it is so true. And the characters they picked for that movie made the movie. You know what I'm learning in TV, and I do enough TV now, and I do interviews, and I'm asked to do shows and stuff of that nature. It really has to do with whoever's picking that cast. I know Goodfellas was... who did Goodfellas? I forget the guy. Martin Scorsese did Goodfellas. And I was looking at some of the people that they picked for the people in Martin Scorsese. I did not know Tommy. First of all, you had Henry Hill, was played by Ray Liotta. You know, he did a great job. I mean, the kind of the way he acted, the way he did things, the way it is in there, how you want to hustle as a little kid, how you looked up to the mobsters. Man, you talk about my life, exactly like my life. And that's what really got me, into that. And Henry Hill is Ray Liotta. Ray Liotta plays Henry Hill, the guy who is with the mob, hangs around with the mob. And he's the kind of guy that's always there, in but not in, doing crimes, getting maybe caught, maybe not, but always had a little bit of a conscience, or at least he did. But then he ratted, so that took away that. But even the actors here, you had Robert De Niro, who plays Jimmy Conway, which is a brilliant role, a true guy, went to prison. He did 20 years in prison, Jimmy Conway, and he died in prison. And but a great character. And De Niro plays him to the T. I mean, he plays him because he's a hustler. Jimmy Conway was me. I would try to make money on every way I could. That was just me. Jimmy Conway was me, a guy that made a lot of money for a lot of people. So that's the character in that. Then, of course, every movie has a Joe Pesci, who played Tommy DeVito, who was like a half a Looney Tune that was looking to get his button or become a made guy. And he was just off the crap, crazy as hell. But what an acting job. I mean, the scene he did when the guy, what was his name? Tony Darren. And I've seen him before, Tony Darrow. He played Sonny Buns, who's the owner of the restaurant that they eventually take over. And boy, does that ring true. Because, listen, I got my hooks into a couple of places too when I was back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. But they get their hooks into this restaurant in this one scene. And, of course, what people don't get in that scene, what rang so true, is Tommy owed a bill of like $7,000 or $8,000 bill to this bar. That is so true. They don't make money. They're always hustling. And I was one of them. Gangsters spend more than they make. I don't care how much we make. We spend more. We buy things. We gamble. We do drugs. Everything you can think of, we do. And the money goes. Now, do we live right? We live on the edge? Absolutely. Tommy DeVito, who played that character, owed $8,000. And the guy from the bar wanted his money. And he didn't know how to do it. But the way they made that scene is so true. How would you embarrass somebody like that in front of their people coming up saying, hey, about the bill, Tommy, and he told me. And he smashes him with a bottle over the head. And then he makes the jokes with Henry Hill. I'm telling you, the scene is one of the best scenes. And, of course, Joe Pesci is one of the greatest actors. Listen, look at the names of these actors they got. They got Paul Sorvino, who plays Paul Cicero, which is a real guy, and all that was unreal. Played him to the ting. Typical mob guy, doesn't want to get in trouble. He's always worrying about, wants to make the money. But then when the shit hit the fan, what did he give him? He gave fucking Ray Liotta or Henry Hill whatever was in his pocket. You think he went and got him 20 grand to say go on the lam? Here's 50 grand, 30 grand. Go take off. Go to Costa Rica. Don't ever come back. We don't want to see you. Whatever. You think he did that? No. Of course, he's worried about snitching, and it happened. And Henry Hill put him in prison and put Tommy. Tommy got killed. He put Conway in prison and put a lot of other people in prison that the movie doesn't show. But that rang so true about not taking care of people. Number one, the heist. Another thing that rang true. Great actor. You want to? I'm telling you, whoever picked that, well, of course, Martin Scorsese is going to pick the best of the best, and he did. Samuel L. Jackson played Stax Edwards, and listen, Stax was a black guy, obviously Samuel L. Jackson, and he robbed the truck, and they whacked him because he screwed up, he got drunk, messing with women, and all of that is so true, because listen, I did business with you don't have to do business with Italians or your crew. You did business with anybody who can make your money. When I was getting rid of my diamonds, we all know I got rid of my diamonds through other people than the family I was associated with. It was another crew totally. So I made money, and I work with whoever I got to work with to make money. Stax Edwards, who robs cars and did what he did, boy, did that ring true. And you know what they really nailed this movie on, and I love this part of it? They didn't overplay the robbery. The robbery went smooth. It was an inside job, which is normally going to happen. That's how those things happen, especially back in those days. Everybody was on the hook, we called it. Everybody got paid. Everybody got paid. And sure enough, they got in. They had a guy who had a tip. He could get this money was coming in, and they walked in and did everything no problems, not a gunshot, nothing. And Robert De Niro played Jimmy Conway. Boy, was he right. What idiots, because this is exactly what they would do. Go buy a mink coat, go buy a Cadillac, go buy a diamond ring. And, how stupid can you get? Thinking, oh, they're not going to know about this? Of course they're going to know about this. The cops are watching every gangster joint in the world, and they know what time it is. They know who did it. They're just looking for proof. And what they're really looking to do is get somebody to flip on that crime. Sure enough, they ended up getting Henry Hill to flip on everything, or what he known. But what they really were looking for is right then and there. But Jimmy Conway started whacking everybody, killing them. And that, there were guys. They had a guy named Roy DeMeo. That dude had a crew out of Brooklyn. They were known. They were a car thief crew. They were getting cars, sending them overseas. It was a big operation. But they were also cutting up bodies. They were cutting up bodies in Brooklyn. This is all fact. You can look it up. I don't know where you can look it up. You go to the internet somehow and look it up. Roy DeMeo, they were cutting up bodies. They were crazy. At Tommy Karate, had a whole bunch of crazy dudes back then, and obviously they're all gone now. But keeping going, another scene of this movie that was just off the charts, and now he became a big actor. He was a kid back then. Was Michael Imperioli, and he played Christopher Moltisanti on Sopranos. If you watch Sopranos, and he played Spider. Spider was a little kid in the neighborhood who would get drinks and go run errands for people. That is all over the neighborhoods in Brooklyn and the Bronx and Queens and all those little neighborhoods all over the place. And here's a kid, he was serving drinks, and he didn't move fast enough for Tommy DeVito, and Tommy shoots him in the foot. That so rang true. What didn't ring true was him shooting him dead right there the next time he saw him. Great scene, great actors. I don't think that happened, and I think that was just for dramatic effect, that scene. I never heard of a kid getting killed like that for nothing. Obviously, do kids get beatings and stuff like that or disappear? Yeah, but it wouldn't have been that many people in that stuff with a little kid. That wouldn't have happened, and that one didn't ring true to me. Great scene, loved it, dance Spider and Conway egging him on. And that's also showing how stupid Tommy was. You could be egged on for nothing. How dumb are you? Are you a real, and you think you're going to be a made dude. But then again, the mob makes some pretty stupid people too, because I've met some of them. But now, even keeping going and looking up this movie, I did not know the great scene there when they kill what's his name? They kill Batts, and he's a great actor too. Frank Vincent, who played Billy Batts. He also played. He played in Sopranos too. Frank Vincent. Well, anyway, Frank Vincent plays Billy Batts, who ends up getting killed. They kill him in the car. Great scene again in the bar, which the bars are just like that. They would shut him down. Nobody would go in. I remember knocking a guy off a bar stool. I hit this dude. He goes flying. Now, he trying to get up. I'm going to get up. My friends grab him, take him out, and they want to beat him some more. I mean, you had no chance in these neighborhoods when we grew up. So anyway, what I did not know in the movie, and maybe this you'll learn something here, Tommy DeVito's mother is Catherine Scorsese, which is Martin Scorsese's mother. I'm assuming it's her mother, the old lady. What a great part she played as Tommy's mother with getting up at night and Italians and the way they would feed you. You know, when I was in the neighborhood in Brooklyn and I'm dating Rosalind, my wife, and we used to go to Grandma Rose's. Grandma Rose was, of course, my wife's grandmother, lived below the house in the apartments in Brooklyn. And we used to go down there and she would always feed me. She knew I liked to eat. She's always feeding me, putting meatballs in front of me, sausage in front, any time of night. Grandma Rose. And she made the best stuffed mushrooms on the planet. Grandma Rose was some piece of work. She was really good. And then my father-in-law's parents, Lil, they all could cook. Grandma Lil and his father, Grandpa Lenny, who, wow, he was the real grandpa. Boy, they look alike. Anyway, those scenes rang so true because they wouldn't ask questions. The old timers, just the old ladies, knew whatever. They knew you did bad, they did this, but, you know, they just shut their mouths. And, you know, I still grew up in a household like that now. You know, my sister, who's alive, I lost two sisters, but my sister who's alive, they still respect their brothers. Because that's the way we did it. It was the men of the house. And that's just the way life was, you know. But, you know, the people in this movie, the casting is just so true. I really do believe my book, Gangster Redemption, will be a better movie than Goodfellas. Especially if we get the actors that are the great actors today. Now, do they have those great actors? Let's face it, De Niro, Pesci, they're all going. They're gone. They're getting old. How do you get the young guy to play the 30-year-old gangster now? I mean, those are the tough parts now to get actors that are that great, that can command that kind of a performance. Obviously, you need the Martin Scorsese who's going to write her and put it all in there the right way and get great actors. I mean, they got actors that got better and better, like this Michael Imperioli and stuff of that nature. Now, a lot of them played on Sopranos and play on other good mob shows. But Goodfellas just had such a ring of truth. They didn't overplay the robbery. They played it the way it really was. They did play how the money goes. They played how guys had girls on the side and they had an apartment, and that they played that to the T, and they nailed it. They really nailed it. So it's another great show, Goodfellas, where you can nail it, have the great actors, and again, that's why it's one of the greatest movies of all time. It's got to be in the top 50 of greatest of all time, easily top 50. In my book, top 10, because it just nailed it 100%. Because when I'm watching the movie and it's ringing true to me, I know it's got to be ringing true to you. But that's my review. Go watch Goodfellas. If you haven't watched it, check it out. You'll understand me with the parts, and you're going to see me in that movie. And when I say see me, the kind of movie mine could be, especially if you read Gangster Redemption. If you haven't, check it out in the link below as well. Listen, guys, thanks again for a great letting me entertain you by reviewing a movie. You know, I'm really happy you guys are part of this family, they're part of this group. Keep passing the word. Check out our merchandise. Check out all we're doing. Really, without you guys, I couldn't be here doing this. And keep supporting us, our live shows, everything we're doing. I really mean it. It means a lot. It means more than you know. Prison reform on the rise. We're coming, making changes in all ways we can. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. Listen to your officials. And you know what? Go watch a good movie or read a good book. Have a great day.